Good morning. Good morning. So, every day, at least once a day, I am doing our treatment for freedom. So I invite you all to join in with me today as we say together, I speak my word for myself, my center, and all its members and friends. I know love as the only reality. I am created out of love. Love is what I am. I know this love as absolute freedom in every area of my life, the life of my center, and all who call it home. I know our center's mortgages are paid in full, and I claim for all of us financial freedom with all debts paid and cleared. I release any sense of struggle or wrongdoing. I live in an abundant universe where there is more than enough for all. We experience freedom in every moment by always having more than enough money, vibrant health, and loving relationships. We are who we have come here to be. With hearts open wide, we see the world through the eyes of love. We are blessed, we are rich, and we are free. And so it is. Wow. Wow. Hold it right there, Pat. Hold it right there, Pat. Back up. Thank you, thank you. So if you don't have a copy of this treatment, there are a pile of them on the Welcome Center. They are also on the homepage of our website because something has caught me. And that is that after being in this teaching for over 35 years, I think it is time that we demonstrate it. And we demonstrate it with having vibrant health, with having loving relationships, with having joy, having happy lives, and having all of our debts paid and plenty of money to do whatever it is we want to do. We didn't come here to struggle or suffer or make payments. We were not created to make payments. I remember when I was buying my Buick and I'd go to the car dealership and they would say, well, how much of a payment can you make? That's none of your business. I don't want to buy a vehicle by how much of a payment I can make. I want to know how much it costs. And so it is so ingrained in our society that we are a payment culture that I want us to bust out of that. The same way when someone comes to me and says they're going in for a biopsy and they want treatment to know that this is completely benign, or better yet, have it just gone before they ever go in for the biopsy. And I go, well, of course. Health is your natural state. Of course, you were born to heal. Your immune system, that's all that it has to do is gobble up stuff that isn't for you. And so after over 35 years, why am I just now thinking about the fact that we can pay everything off? I don't know why it's taken me so long. Some would say I'm a slow learner. But wherever it is, I am here now. And so if you want to come along, we don't have to know what's going to happen in the future. We don't have to know how it's going to work out. Thank you, Olympia, for that song. People say, well, what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? Who knows how it's going to happen? All I know is that it's already done. And if you want to come along, do this. This is what we do. We do spiritual mind treatment. What we think, what we believe, what we know to be so is manifest in our lives. And paying things off, I think, is so much easier than going into debt. Because going into debt is going against the flow of life, and paying everything off is just riding that God wave to where we're supposed to be. So I encourage you to get on board. However, it is more than just doing the treatment. I know, when I copied, I didn't come up with, but when I found these points of power and said that's what I want to use as a vehicle to demonstrate all of this, I had no idea what I was getting into. And so everybody take a breath, because we're going to repeat our points of power next. I always pay attention. I always tell the truth and tell it quickly. I always ask for what I want when I want it. I always take total responsibility for my experience. I always keep my agreements. Whoa. Thank you, Tolly Burkan. Tolly Burkan is the father of fire walking in the United States, and this is how he has had hundreds of thousands of people walk on fire and not get burned, because they get clear about who they are. So thank you, Pat. So my talk today is on the path to freedom. Now, it's a treatment for freedom. We include paying off our mortgages, but really what we are doing is using that as an outer demonstration of our natural state of freedom. It is a treatment for freedom, so that we can go where we want to go, do what we want to do, have the lives that we are meant to have, so that we can be free and not use money as an excuse for not doing and being what we know is ours to do and be. And money is the biggest cop-out that people use. I mean, what is this really? We don't even have bills anymore. Paper bills, money bills. How many people really carry cash? Not many. Not many. It took me forever to give John L. $10 for trim and bliss his nails, because I don't deal in cash. What I have is a stack of plastic credit cards that represent an idea of money in a bank account that I access online that represents an idea of money. And what so many people do is they use this idea to hold themselves back and to say, I can't because I have, not enough zeros in my life. Think about it. I have not enough nothings in my life, so that I can, if I only had more zeros, if I only had more nothing in my life, then I could do what I want to do, be who I want to be the amazing being I've come to planet Earth to be. But no, we use this idea as an excuse to stay small. The only problem with that is it drives us crazy. And then we come to a place like this and say, help me. And what I say is that you are so much more than your zeros. So we do a treatment for freedom that includes paying off mortgages. And I want us to be on 60 Minutes and say, everybody who's a part of this Center for Spiritual Living and a part of the whole movement worldwide, they don't have debt. They don't have mortgages. They don't have car payments. They don't borrow money. I think there's something biblical here. They lend it because they have so much. And so in that idea is this idea of freedom. And then, well, how in the world are we going to do it? We're going to recite our treatment, and isn't that great? Yes, but we must become within ourselves that which we wish to experience on the outside. And if we are created out of absolute infinite prosperity and abundance, what is keeping it from us? It's not that there isn't any. It's not that it's not chasing us down. It's that we are stopping it. So how do we stop stopping it? We come into alignment with who we are. We open up to that spiritual power and magnificence of God showing up as us. And one of the ways we do it is with our points of power. And I don't know if you are having stuff come up, but I think if you're not doing it. I always pay attention. Wow, always? But what if I just want to be unconscious for a little while? I always pay attention unless I want to be unconscious for a little while, and then I screw everything up, and then I can blame being unconscious. No. I always pay attention. And this is the one that's been getting me lately. I always tell the truth and tell it quickly. I've been having conversations this week that I should have had years ago, but I didn't want to. And so it just kind of stayed muddy and murky and sticky. What I've become aware of, because I'm paying attention, is that every time I sweep something under the rug, or every time I just let it slide, let it be sticky, murky, dark, it costs me money. Now I'm talking to me in a way I can understand. It costs me money to not be clear about who I am. It costs me money to not bring forward into my life that which I know to be true. It costs me money to not speak up. It costs me money every time I get upset. Wow. Could you imagine if every time you chose to get upset, you started taking out $100 bills and setting them on fire? Wouldn't they get our attention? And yet every time we choose to get upset, we are racking up debt. Every time we choose to get upset. What I have learned over the years is that if I get upset with someone in my center, and this has nothing to do with Margot, but if I get upset with someone in my center, I chase them away. I can chase people away. All I have to do is get mad at them. And so anytime I am tempted, and please don't think I'm pure, because I'm just not. I'm getting better. And hopefully I'm half a step ahead of you and they call it leading, but really you're just chasing me. Every time I get upset with someone, I have to ask myself, are you willing to lose them over this? And the answer is no. And what I have also learned is that when I get upset with someone around other people, not only do I risk losing the person that I'm upset with, I risk losing everybody else around. Because when we come to a place like this, we start to clean up our energy. And our tolerance for the trauma of the drama, for the upset, goes way down. And so whereas maybe 20 years ago you could have lived with a lot of fighting and screaming and yelling and throwing of things and things like that, not that we're doing here, I'm just making an example, you can't do that anymore. And so what I've looked at inside of myself is, how do I use being upset as a way to defend or shield myself from telling the truth and telling it quickly and asking for what I want? Maybe you know people who hold on to grudges or resentment or just a general idea that everybody else is wrong and they're right. Isn't it fascinating that that's a defense mechanism from being open and honest and intimate? Because when you're open, when you tell the truth and tell it quickly, when you ask for what you want, you are open, you are vulnerable, you are intimate, and you risk. You risk someone not giving you what you want, or you risk someone having the reaction that you didn't want to hear, you didn't want to deal with it. Maybe they're getting upset with you, who knows what it is, but you're risking. And yet the only way that I know to be free is to drop all of the things that I am not. And when I can drop that which I am not, I can allow that which I am to come forth. Don't you love the butterflies? It's springtime. Aren't they beautiful? Do you have any idea what they went through? They thought they were going to be a caterpillar. They thought that climbing around on the leaves and the trees was what it was at, what was great. They thought that was what was at. So here you've got these caterpillars just gorging themselves, stuffing themselves on as much food as they can eat, decimating trees at times, and thinking that they had really made it. And then something happened, and all of a sudden it just wasn't good enough to be stuffing themselves and to be gorged and to be crawling. And they had no real control over it, and I would submit to you that neither do you, that there is that within you at a soul level that is calling you to a higher plane, that you would not be sitting in here today if you were not ready to grow, to expand, to be more than you ever have been. And so what does the caterpillar what does the caterpillar do? But it begins to let go of literally its physical form. It, spins the cocoon and the chrysalis, and then inside of the chrysalis, it's fascinating, it totally disintegrates. And so whenever anyone comes to me and they say, I feel like I've lost everything, there's nothing stable underneath me, I feel like I'm falling, I just don't know who I am anymore, I go, great, you've turned into caterpillar goo. That is the scientific term. But inside of the goo, once everything has been let go of, there is the most amazing thing. And this is also a scientific term. There are cells within the goo called imaginal cells. And the caterpillar cells actually imagine themselves into a different being. But the caterpillar has to be willing to let go of the goo, to let go of the self, the solidness, the caterpillarness, and to risk turning to goo and trusting that there is that within them that will carry them through. And then they come out as this beautiful butterfly, and they wave their wings in the sun, and they dry, and they fly off. And we go, wow, look at the butterflies. And I go, wow, look at the caterpillars. Look at the courage of the caterpillar that trusted at some level that there was something greater to be, and that if they would just stop doing what was in front of them in terms of eating the leaves of the trees and begin to do this crazy thing called spinning a cocoon and making a chrysalis, that maybe something magical and mystical would come forth. And so I want to encourage you and encourage me to stop being the caterpillar. Stop doing it the way we used to do it. Stop grabbing and saying, this leaf is mine and you can't have any. You're going to take care of your brother. You're spreading the love. You're doing an amazing, altruistic, loving experience to go and do that. To stop saying, I'm going to get mine because I live in a limited universe, and to say there's more than enough. And I'm going to trust that there's a presence and a power within each and every one of us that will lift us into a higher state of being, to where we're going to laugh and say, remember when we thought that we were paying off mortgages? That was a byproduct of what we were doing. We were changing the world, and of course the mortgages had to go, the car payments had to go, the boat payments had to go, all of the credit card debt had to go, because we were off changing the world. We were establishing in consciousness that we are amazingly powerful, creative, spiritual beings alive and well on planet Earth. And to do that, we have to stop defending ourselves. We have to stop saying, I am a caterpillar and I will fight to the death anyone who tries to tell me I am a butterfly in disguise. No. We have to be willing to tell the truth and tell it quickly, and to ask for what we want, and to trust that whoever is in our world is simply a reflection of God as us, and so only good can come from this divine appointment. We have to be willing to stop holding on to that which was, so that we can open up to that which is. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to look. But I know that for me, things are shifting. Things are changing. And there is something calling me to yet to be. And I want to do it, and I want to do it big. And I want to do it with you. And so.